if you're gonna self-build, you need to do this one simple test. Take out $1,000 in $100 bills out of the bank, and then put them on the ground, and then light them on fire. And if you don't feel any pain, you're ready.
What?
Hey, welcome back. This week, we're going to be talking about some money and what we have spent so far in this project.
Before we get too far, if you're new here, welcome. I'm Elena and this is Alex. We are building our own home debt-free, and on this channel we are documenting that entire process as well as all of the projects that we work on at our current home, including gardening, raising chickens, and building and fixing anything we need to. So we're so happy you're here. Let's get to it.
We added it up, we ran the numbers, and it's more than I thought. So I think you might be interested to hear how we break it down, and then we'll tell you a little bit about how we are tracking it and what you can do to see the full picture in the future as the project goes on.
Yes, and we also are going to talk a little bit about how we saved our money and how we got to where we're at.
Yeah, so I guess we'll start with that. Here's kind of a background. We're both very good savers. Our parents brought us up to not spend all of our money and not get credit cards and max them out and stuff that a lot of America unfortunately has a problem with doing. And
they also taught us how to value the things that we have and take care of the things, so we don't, use something one time and throw it away. No, we value our tools, we take care of them, and so that we can use them forever.
I drive a 1997 Honda Civic with 247,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
And I honestly love the car and want to keep it going. That's kind of an example. Maybe it's...
That's an extreme example.
I think there's a difference between being frugal and cheap. That might be a little bit cheap, but in general, we're both frugal people and we're able to save our money. Now, compounding this, we both have engineering degrees and we both work as engineers. That helps a lot, I would say.
Our salaries definitely help us to get to where we're at.
And we did both have some school loans coming out, about $20,000 each.
Mine was, 25. Mine was 25.
Mine was like 21 or something.
Yeah.
But we paid them off first priority out of school, so that was not a burden on us going forward.
Yes. So one thing that goes along with us saving our money and being good at saving is that we don't spend a lot of money on some things that a lot of people our age spend money on, which is traveling, eating out, going to bars, and there's nothing wrong with that. We all have different values, but for us, we like to spend our money in places where we can see it going somewhere, or just, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just
For example, I spend a lot of money, but
on
the
tools.
majority of it is on tools and building materials for things that I'm building that will, or I'm either building or fixing something that's gonna hopefully last a long time, and it's saving us in the process of fixing it by not hiring someone else to do it. And I'm learning a skill at the same time.
Yeah.
So I have spent literally tens of thousands of dollars, even since graduating college, on wood and lumber and building materials and everything else you can think
Tractor,
of. Tools.
skid steer.
Between my truck, tractor, and the little trailer I bought, I think that was like $15,000, so it's, we're not afraid to spend money, but we also are fairly decent at saving it too.
Yes.
So, getting into the subject of this video and what we've spent so far. Are you ready to jump right into it?
Yes.
All
Okay.
right.
So, we bought our land in 2020, right before COVID.
No,
we bought it after.
We bought it in late May of 2020.
We locked in a price before COVID happened, but we didn't actually sign papers until May. What did we spend on the land?
After attorney fees to close the settlement, and we paid cash for it, so there was no mortgage closing fees or anything like that. We spent $36,320 on the land purchase itself.
Yes, and that was 6.2 acres, fully wooded.
No access. There was an 1/8 mile of a driveway to a neighbor's house adjacent, which we had the right of way to use, and that was in paper already. But after that 1/8 of a mile, it was just a solid block of woods that was filled with trash and metal, and
like big trash.
You could barely, in the summer, you couldn't even walk in it. There was so much briars and thorns. So it was in rough. It definitely is not a piece of land for every buyer, and the guy who sold it to us kind of knew that it wasn't a turnkey property, you could get in there and start building the next day. It needed a substantial amount of work, and we were willing to take that on for the price.
Yep.
To round this, we kind of broke it up into categories. This first category is land and permitting in general. We haven't actually gotten our building permit yet, but we had to spend $200 to get our erosion and sedimentation plan reviewed. That was just to start our site work and excavation. Our septic perk test was $360. The DEP permit fee for our septic was $350 to the state. Our permit fee for the well was $150. Oh, I skipped septic design to get our system designed after our perk test was $400. And then the structural engineering, we actually haven't paid this bill yet, but it's going to be coming. It's an hourly rate, and it maxes out at $1,800. And with the time I've spent with him, I'm pretty sure I've maxed him out. I've been asking this guy a lot of questions. So
I think he's like Alex is like his worst customer nightmare.
I'm a difficult client because I am an engineer and I'm working with an engineer. So I like to ask the hard questions that he never typically gets asked by builders or whatever.
Like, can we do this instead?
Yeah. Anyway, so our whole land and permitting category subtotal is $39,580. What do you think?
That's a pretty good deal for the land.
We'll take it.
With land.
6 acres of land. Mind you, a single 1 acre building lot here usually goes for around like between $60,000 and $80,000. So we think that we got a fairly good deal on that.
Yeah, but those lots are not wooded.
Yeah, those are turnkey lots.
Those are turnkey.
All right, next is the site work. So this is a whole long category. I'm just going to run through it, give you the subtotal at the end. To clear that initial right of way after it was another eighth of a mile into the woods was $32.50. We did that last February, about a year ago, almost.
Yeah.
Survey. We needed to get a survey before we put our driveway in. That was $553. I bought some driveway fabric to keep our rocks and dirt separate. When we put the driveway down, that was $735. And I'm using round numbers here, or our cents in here, but the actual stone itself delivered, it was like 11 truckloads of stone, was $4,021. We had to pay $2,000 actually to the neighbors to use the right of way. That was part of the contract agreement. We knew we were going to have to pay that when we bought the land. That was $2,000. The digging out of all of the stumps after our logging took place, and our septic perk holes, basically the use of our site contractor's large excavator for like almost 2 weeks, was $3,350. The driveway install, so the cutting into the driveway and the smoothing out and the compaction of the stone with the dozer and a compactor, was $2,500. Leveling out our building pad, cutting the site flat essentially, is about a 60 something by 100 something building pad, was $1,050. That was for the bucket loader, and then the dozer was another $1,500. So the total for that was $2,550 for the building pad.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of driveway cleanup and ditching using a Mini X was $510. Smaller stuff, just miscellaneous expenses. Silt fence, $53. Grass seed, $320. A marking paint wand was $18. Marking paint itself, $32. A mason's string, $13. Flagging tape, $7. And then finally, I'm including this cost because it's we used it extensively in our site work. We would have had to pay if we didn't buy this, which is the skid steer and a grapple bucket for it. It's really kind of a long-term investment for the property, but I think we'll include it in our site. We'll include it in our cost spent thus far. That was a $10,000 purchase plus $1,397 for the grapple. Our site work subtotal brings us to $31,309. Yikes!
It's not that bad with the driveway. Yeah. I mean. So the next one is just a miscellaneous other improvements total. So well drilling cost us $3,750. Vapor barrier and tape were $230. Light fixtures, which we purchased when we thought we were building a bigger house, so we might not use all of them, was $155. We bought those on Facebook Marketplace for the most part. Pool tape.
That's for the electric conduit install. We're going to need that when we install our electric service.
Okay, so that's $58. Buried marking tape, which is also for the electric line, is $27. What is that?
So these are end caps, just rubber temporary end caps that we're going to use for the electric conduit install. $9 on those.
PVC primer and glue, which will also be used for the electric service, is $9. The Schedule 80 4-inch diameter sweep, which is basically the curved portion of the electric conduit that we will need for going from the neighbor's property to our property, $73. Then the primary 4-inch conduit run, we've only purchased about 150 feet, which is less than 1/3 of what we need total, but that cost us $500, and since then that price has gone up. So in 2022, we're going to be spending a lot of money on PVC conduit for electric service. Then miscellaneous fuel is estimated at $500. We didn't necessarily
this
keep
includes
track.
like I burst a hydraulic line on my tractor. That was like $200 to fix that. And so
Just
there's
miscellaneous
some other
things.
stuff we've probably forgotten to include.
Yeah.
So what's the total on that?
So the total on that miscellaneous category is $5,313.
So adding all those up in the site work, the land cost itself, and the other, the total amount we have spent to date, drum roll please, $76,202, which is a little bit jaw-dropping to hear that because we haven't even started on the house yet.
Yeah.
But to put this in perspective, I guess, a couple other statistics. We got paid for our timber harvest, which we didn't talk about in this video yet, and that was after the fees for the appraiser and everything, all said and done, we netted $18,455 on it. So subtracting that from our total spent to date, we've spent $57,747. Then, if we take out the skid steer, which isn't necessarily a property improvement or like a permanent thing, it's more of a tool and a long-term investment. That was $11,397 with the grapple. We take that off, we're down to $46,350. And if we take out the cost of the land itself and basically just focus on the improvements that we've made to it so far, we've only spent $10,030.
$10,030.
So that doesn't
seem too bad.
It makes me feel a little bit better inside. I mean,
That's actually feels pretty good.
We physically have written checks though for $76,000 worth of work and or equipment and materials. So for most people, it is not an economical alternative to buying a house. But for us, with what we want, it's going to make sense. I mean, with the amount of work that we're willing to put into it and the time we're willing to put into it, we will get a substantial discount versus having to pay a builder.
Yes, and we're going to learn a lot of valuable life skills, so that will be awesome too.
It's stuff that we enjoy. I mean, I personally take a lot of pride in doing projects like this, and I think it's going to be worth it.
Yeah, so going forward, Alex mentioned this at the beginning, but we are going to start what's called a Patreon page. If you're not familiar, it's basically a way for you to support us, but also get additional content that isn't on the YouTube channel. So going forward, we will have a link to the Patreon page below. There are several options for you to sign up there, and we are going to cover all of the financial aspects of our project through that Patreon page. So if that's something that's of interest to you, make sure you go down there and sign up. We really, really appreciate your support. We haven't asked for much throughout this journey other than some thumbs up on YouTube. So we would appreciate your support, and we hope that you seeing these costs laid out helps you determine whether this is something that you would want to take on or just kind of opens your eyes to what it could potentially cost to build on raw land.
So that is pretty much all we had to cover today. Thanks for joining us for yet another week, and we will be back again next week with some more new content. So until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year, by the way. Hey, welcome back.
You're slouchy.
Hey, welcome back. I thought you were going to take it from there.
We are a couple who are building our... Who is or who are?
It is. But But until next time, we will see you, see you next time.
We are building our own home debt-free. What am I saying?
Thanks for joining with us. Oh my goodness.
Studying, building, and fixing things.
Oh, well, that ruined it.